Hi everyone, Luke here from Weekend Tour Pros. We're back again today with another iron review, and today we are reviewing these. It's the brand new TaylorMade P790. Now I absolutely love the previous version of these irons, so I'm really excited to put these ones to the test. So what we're going to do in this video is tell you a little bit about these irons, the construction of them and what's changed from the previous model, and then we'll stick them on TrackMan to the test and see how they perform in the hands of a mid-handicap average swing speed golfer, the exact target demographic for these irons. Let's get stuck in. Okay, so before I start hitting some shots, I just want to tell you a little bit about the construction of these irons, and there's 5 key things that TaylorMade talk about on their website as the features of these irons. The first thing they call out is the aesthetics of the irons. TaylorMade say the most important thing to them with these irons was making them look good, and boy have they got it right. They look just absolutely stunning. The best way I can describe them, holding them in my hands, is they look like a slightly chunky blade, and I think most people love the look of a blade golf club, wish their golf clubs look like blades, but they need a little bit more help, and I think TaylorMade have got it absolutely spot on with these. They just look absolutely stunning. I really do like them, and I'm hoping the up close shots that I'm showing you right now are doing them justice. The second thing they call out is that whilst they look absolutely fantastic on the outside, on the inside all of these irons look a little bit different. Now the reason TaylorMade say for that is we need every single one of these irons to do something slightly different for us as golfers, and as a result the construction of the irons on the inside needs to be slightly different to make sure they can maximise that performance for us. Now I have absolutely no idea if other manufacturers are doing this and just not calling it out. I'd be surprised if they're not, but it is certainly something that TaylorMade are calling out with these irons. If you do want to see those pictures, they are on the TaylorMade website. We don't often get to see the inside of golf clubs, so I think it's pretty cool, so definitely do check it out. The third thing they talk about is a variable centre of gravity placement. One thing we know as golfers is that we need to move the centre of gravity low and as far back as we can, particularly with the longer clubs, to optimise that ball launch and that ball flight. And then as we move up through the bags, we want the CG placement to move up a little bit to try and help us optimise our scoring clubs and giving us the potential to control spin and ball flights with those clubs as well. TaylorMade is saying they've improved the CG placement on these irons to hopefully maximise that performance a little bit more than the previous version. The fourth thing they talk about is improved sounds and feels, and I'll try and put that to the test and give you some feedback on the feel and the sound of these irons as I'm hitting them, particularly on those off-centre hits. And that does bring me on to the fifth and final point. TaylorMade talk about the thinness of this face. At the thinnest point, it's only 1.56 mil thick, but it has got some variability across the face to still give us that forgiveness on those off-centre hits. But what they're saying is when you catch it out of the sweet spot, it should feel incredible. The final thing to call out is the price point at £1,029 for 5-iron to pitching wedge. They certainly aren't cheap, but they are comparable to all other players' distance irons that are available brand new on the market today. That's everything you need to know. Let's set up the test and let's start hitting some shots. So let's see what numbers we can get out of this golf club. So first one out the gate, my club head speed 78.1 mile an hour and ball speed 107.5. It didn't feel like my cleanest strike. Spinning at 4871. I've pulled it a little bit down the right, carrying at 148.7, total 162, peak height of 61, landing at 38. Definitely not good numbers, or strong numbers, but first one, still getting used to kind of the club and the shaft combination, so I'm sure it will get a little bit better as we get into it. Club head speed 79.3, ball speed 110.2, that's really good actually. Spinning at 5139, that's good again, carrying 154.8 because I've pulled it a little bit down the right. Total 164.8, we definitely got the height that time, 79 feet, and the land angle at 44.3. Now that's one of the things I noticed about the previous version of these irons is I did seem to get some really good ball flights out of them in terms of height, and land angle was probably a slightly loopier ball flight, which might not sound a good thing because you might think you're wanting a more penetrating flight, but I definitely felt like I got it up there a little bit more and got it to land a little bit steeper, and that's definitely something I was looking for more in my mid-irons. That's probably why I love the previous version, and definitely if I could get those numbers out of this club, considering that was a pull down the right hand side, I definitely think these would be another strong contender. That felt like it was right out of the meat, a really good strike. Just swiped across it a little bit, but those numbers are fantastic at hitting a little fade. Look at those. Club head speed 78.9, ball speed 110.6, The spin rate this time, 5418, is really good. The carry of 154.2 is as long as anything I'll hit with a 7-iron, totaling at 162.5. But again, this is it for me. Look at that height, 87 feet, and that land angle of 46.6 that's pitching wedge numbers with some clubs that I test, particularly when I start getting up to kind of game improvement irons. Those are really good. Now, admittedly, I have hit kind of a high cut there, and that's obviously added to those numbers, but yeah, they're good. Really good. Oh my, that felt great as well. That's an absolute line ball. That's just an awesome golf shot, and it felt great, and the club and me just were in unison there. 79.3 mile an hour club head speed, 109.6 of ball speed, spinning at 4941, so it's dropped down just a couple of hundred revs there compared to the other shots we've had. Carrying at 154.7, totaling at 165.2, peak height of 78 feet, land angle at 43.8. Those numbers are as good, again, as anything I can get out of a 7-iron, and this one isn't even kind of fully fit to me just yet, so yeah, I absolutely love them. It felt awesome as well, it really does. It looks sleek, and it does feel, when you get it out of the middle, it does feel great. Maybe not as great when you don't get it out of the middle, but that's kind of to be expected out of a player's distance iron. But the numbers, when you do connect with it, they are good. That's a golf shot. That is a golf shot. Oh my God, look at that. That is just the best of these clubs shown right there in a golf shot. Club head speed 76.8, ball speed 109.8, spinning at 5,026, so right in the middle of what we've seen, carrying 154.9, total 164.1, peak height of 87 feet, just wow. And that land angle again of 46.4, like those are the numbers. This is what this club is capable of, and it's just awesome performance. I've hit 2 in a row that are really good. The tiniest of cuts on that one has probably cost me like a yard of distance, but look at that. 78.2 on the club head speed, ball speed 110.3, again, so consistent with that ball speed when the strike is good. Spinning that time at 5387, definitely one of the highest we've seen off a clean hit. 153.9 of carry, 162.6 of total, height of 85 feet, land angle at 46.1. Like this thing, the one thing I would say is TrackMan, some of you guys watch my videos and go, your 7-iron rolls out that much. It's a known thing in TrackMan that when you're hitting onto the range, because it's a fairway, it always shows the rollout as a lot more than it would if we were hitting onto a green. But I can honestly tell you that 5,500 revs of spin, or 5,400 spin, and a 46-degree land angle coming in from 85 feet, that's going to stop quickly for someone like me who's not used to the ball stopping that quickly on the green. Like, these numbers are great. That is good. Please say I've left the face in a good spot. Yeah, like, that's just an awesome golf shot. It felt great. The numbers are just ridiculous. Look at that peak height on it. Oh my God. And the spin as well. Look at that. So club head speed 79 mile an hour, ball speed 110.6, spinning at 5278, carrying 154.9, total 163.1, peak heights 91, land angle 47.7. Like, on any golf course, that is going to stop super, super quickly. Oh my God, that's good. That might even be better than the others. Jeez. It's just ridiculous, that. 78.6 mile an hour of club head speed, ball speed 111.8. Like, that's just so good. Spinning at 4758. Interesting, that spin was a little bit lower. That's probably one of the lowest spinning we've got, and we've probably got a little bit of a knuckle ball in terms of distance, because 159.8 yards of carry is just mind-blowingly out of this world. Peak height at 89 again, and that land angle of 46. Like, it's just ridiculous. Really, really ridiculous. I really do like these clubs. Caught that one not as good, so let's see what the drop-off is. Yeah, I've just left the face open on that one. Club head speed 79.3 mile an hour, ball speed 108.5. So compared to the good hits, a couple of mile an hour of drop off, but the spin, because I've caught it a little bit clean, 5834, just jumping up and keeping that ball in the air on a not great hit, and it's still carrying 148.7 yards, total 156.8. But the height, look at that, still 81 feet and still landing at 45 degrees. Like, they're strong numbers. and we're back up to 110 mile an hour ball speed again, and then we've got the number back up. Like, I've just got a feel for these now. My swing is just warmed up lovely, and look at that, 78.6 mile an hour club head speed, ball speed 110.8, spinning at 5323, carry at 155, land, a total at 164, landing at 48.8 with a peak height of 81 feet. Come on, one more good one to finish. It might be a big draw. It's a little draw, but it's a great number to finish on. A really, really good hit. And again, that proves that I can get that feel out of these because I predicted that straight off of the face. So club head speed 79.1, ball speed 111.1, just ridiculously good. Spinning at 5114, carrying at 156.7, total 165.9, peak height 87 feet, land angle 46.2. Okay, so just done hitting shots with the TaylorMade P790, and first impressions in the bay are, first of all, they look absolutely fantastic, particularly when they're down at the ball at address. They really are a sleek looking golf iron, and I think that will appeal to so many of you guys watching down the lens. The second thing to call out is when you catch these out in the middle, they feel absolutely fantastic. I could definitely notice when I hit the kind of slightly toey draw one at the end, that was definitely noticeable. There was a couple of strikes that I didn't hit as well, and I definitely could get that feedback from the iron, so I think that's really, really important as well. Maybe didn't feel as good on that off-center hit, which is probably to be expected with this type of iron, but you could definitely notice it wasn't a great strike straight off the face. You are getting that feedback from the iron immediately. In terms of performance, the numbers are very, very similar to what I remember getting from the previous incarnation. They deliver a really high, strong ball flight with really steep land angles to give you the ability to stop the ball and hold the green while still delivering some really good spin and some really good carry numbers. But again, what we need to do is go home and look at the data compared to a batch of shots with my own iron that I baselined against shortly before I started filming to see if that truly is backed up. But yeah, first impressions in the bay are, if you told me I had to buy a set of players' distance irons off of the rack, and I couldn't get fitted for them, I definitely think these would be in my top three alongside my own irons and probably something like a set of Strixons. They really are a cool iron, and I think they will sell magnificently. But let's go home and let's look at the data side by side. So now that I've got home and taken a look at the data, I'm really pleased to say that the feelings you just heard from me in the bay have not changed at all. Let me show you what I mean. Starting on the left hand side, you can see that my club head speed with the TaylorMade P790 was about 1 mile an hour faster than it was with my own Mizuno. I put that down to the fact that I hit the TaylorMade second and I was probably a little bit warmer by that part of the test. The ball speeds, however, were virtually identical, and as a result the smash factor was a little bit higher with my Mizuno. I genuinely don't think that one of these clubs is faster than the other. I purely put that down to the fact that me as the handicap golfer, I'm the biggest variable here, but how close these two sets of numbers are say to me that both of these clubs are similar in terms of their speed performance. In terms of spin rate, I think it's a very similar picture. At 5189 versus 5257, you can see the spin rates of both of these clubs are again very, very similar. Yes, the Mizuno is about 70 revs higher spinning and a fraction more consistent, but again, I don't think that's a lot to notice when you're out on the golf course. Also worth reminding ourselves that we were hitting off a mat. We take these numbers out on the grass, we'd get somewhere in the region of another 1,000 revs of spin, and that would put me much closer to optimal spin that TrackMan would recommend, and I am naturally a low spin player. In terms of that ball flight, you heard me talk a lot about this in the bay, and it's the thing that really impresses me about these irons, and that is really backed up in the data. Look at the difference between the two sets of ball flights. The launch angle at 18.3 is 2.6 degrees more than what I got out of my Mizuno. The peak height is 11 feet higher, and the land angle at 44.5 is 3.5 degrees higher. Now I must admit I wasn't striking my Mizuno as good at the start of the day as I was hitting the P790. I've hit my Mizuno quite a lot on TrackMan over the last 10 weeks since I've had it, and these are the lowest set of numbers I've had in terms of ball flight, and therefore I do think if I'd gone back and hit some more shots with my Mizuno at the end, we would have seen that the batches of shots were much more consistent in terms of ball flight. But I do think the P790 would have still come out higher because that is definitely something I notice about these irons. So what does that all mean in terms of distance? Well, in my test, the TaylorMade P790 was about a yard longer in carry on average, and that stopping power, the difference between the carry and the total, was only 10 yards with the P790 versus 11.6 yards with my own Mizuno, so somewhere in the region of about 16% more stopping power with the P790. Overall, I think the numbers are absolutely fantastic and back up why I really, really love the old version of these irons, and I love these new ones just as much. Just want to show you the side-by-side view of the ball flights. It's really hard to see where they're all overlaid one on top of each other, but what you can see here is that the purple ball flights from the P790 are continuously higher than the ball flights with the Mizuno JPX923. And the final thing I want to show you is just my dispersion circle, front to back, left to right. It is a fraction tighter with my own Mizuno, but I did hit slightly less shots with it than I hit with the TaylorMade P790, so please bear that in mind. But I think you can see that, again, they're really, really consistent in terms of the forgiveness and the consistency of dispersion that I was able to get. Overall, some really strong numbers. Let's get into my final thoughts. So that brings me nicely onto my concluding thoughts on the TaylorMade P790 irons. My headline summary is I absolutely love them. They look absolutely fantastic. They feel great. They've got a good mix of forgiveness in them, and the numbers, as we've seen on TrackMan, including that super strong ball flight, is absolutely fantastic and comparable to any other good player's distance iron on the market today. Now, if I was a mid-handicap golfer or a high single figures golfer looking for a new iron, these would absolutely be on my test list, and I definitely would recommend you put them onto yours. All that's left for me to say is if you like the video, please do smash that thumbs up button, and if you're not yet following Weekend Tour Pros, go on, hit that subscribe button and you'll get notified of all my videos as they land on the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Goodbye.